Some tights action.
Yep.
In 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the most electrifying podcast in sports and entertainment. If you smell what the masks and tights is cooking.
So
that's what that face was you were making.
I just try to get you to break. That's all.
Oh, yeah. I look at the script when I
know. Because you got 5 screens going on over there.
I do. Well, it's tough to produce all this shit.
I know. You do great work.
I hope our fans appreciate it.
Fans? Tell that.
Man.
Fan.
So
fans, we have 2?
I know. Well, 1.5. Who knows? So we're back from our week off because I really just couldn't produce 4 episodes before leaving on my trip.
We did 3.
We got 3. Even the amount of time it took to record that 3 episodes is a bit much. And we already have Heather in chat going meh.
Meh. Raw was meh. That's actually the new tagline.
Raw is meh.
Meh. They just no-sold that super kick, right? Did Braun Strowman on Raw, because I got Raw on the TV right now as we record.
Yeah.
And if Roman, and people cheered, if Roman did it, they'd boo.
Yeah, they'll boo anything Roman does anyway. Because he walked out tonight.
The puppy and kiss Santa Claus, people are going to boo him.
Especially in Philadelphia. They'll throw batteries.
Oh, yeah. They hate Santa Claus in Philadelphia.
And you can curse in Quebecois as you do it.
Yes.
Which was a great image that Heather did share on Twitter earlier.
If you guys aren't following Heather, our friend Heather on Twitter, you're missing out. I believe her Twitter handle is Heather8, which she'll correct John.
It's just Heather M.
Oh, just Heather M.
Yeah, she's stealing my gimmick.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's screams in Quebecois was the image of Kevin Owens there. Nice. That was hilarious. So
Kevin Owens' dad in front row and Raw was pretty cool to see some video of him cheering on his son.
Yeah, that was very cool. Yeah, it's cool that they're now on Raw because I don't watch SmackDown very often.
Sami Zayn is a tremendous heel. I love him as a heel. I mean, I was always a fan, but as a heel, it's just like, oh my God, he's so fucking annoying. It's awesome.
Well, my favorite was he came out about 10 minutes into the show tonight, and he just gets the crowd going. Like, he's just making faces and dancing around. And I honestly thought they were going to do that for another 2 hours and 50 minutes.
They could have. The crowd would have been hot, and they would have loved it. They would have been all happy.
So, that would have been hilarious. Heather says she's not stealing my gimmick. She's the renegade to my ultimate warrior. Well, at least she's not the Shockmaster.
No. Or the Black Scorpion.
Or the Gobbledygooker.
Oh my God. So many horrible gimmicks.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a whole episode unto itself.
So what's this? The 3rd episode of Masks and Tights.
Yeah, and because we kind of alluded to it in earlier episodes and even in our other show, Geekodrome, I kind of wanted to spend an episode, I guess, navel-gazing a little bit, talking about us and our interest in history and wrestling so that we could just say it all at once and it wouldn't just kind of slowly come out as a story. So you've been like a solid wrestling fan for 30, 40 years now?
I've been watching wrestling since I was 9. So let's say I'm 44, so 35 years.
Okay. And there's no breaks in between. You've been solid wrestling.
Yeah, because even when I didn't watch regularly, I still watched. I still knew what was going on. I would still pick up a magazine, like Pro Wrestling Illustrated or The Wrestler, or even WWE magazine, and I'd flip through it and and get caught up with it. Or you sit down one. I mean, if you don't even watch wrestling, you can just sit down once a month, turn it on, you'll be caught up.
No, that's true. The storylines, especially the storylines now, are like about a month long. Some of them.
Yeah.
But so, were you always like WWF, WWE, or were you also
starting off? I was, because that was what was on Channel 5 in New York, and then I don't know. I want to say I got to be like 13, 14 years old, and I discovered NWA. They had a TV show called Worldwide on Channel 11, and I don't know if that, I don't remember if that was on Saturday mornings or late night, and I like set up the VCR to record it. But I started seeing the Four Horsemen, and man, what they were doing was just, it was awesome. I bought into that gimmick right away, mainly because of the promos. Their promos were all great. Arn Anderson, his promos have such a degree of realism to them that, man, you'll buy whatever he's selling. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all those horsemen from that period were just fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. And then, you know, their whole roster of rotating guys in and out, like, you know, Ole, and then Lex, and then Barry Windham, who I'm a huge Barry Windham fan. Barry as a heel was awesome in that time. Yeah, and once I got into NWA, it was gritty, and it had such a degree of realism, where the WWF at that time was cartoonish, and I felt like that really doesn't do anything for me. The characters just didn't resonate with me at all, like the NWA guys did. You know?
Yeah. The characters were very much cartoon characters, as we all saw when they did cartoons.
Yes. Which I loved the cartoon though when I was that age and it came out.
We all did.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I probably started watching around the same time as you, mid '80s WWE or WWF. And I watched it for several years before like losing interest. You know, you kind of get older, your tastes change, whatever you're into changes. You get into cars, you get into girls, whatever. I got back into it mid '90s, just before the Attitude Era. A buddy of mine was really into it, and he was just like, "You got to start watching wrestling again." And I did. And it was fun to watch again. Plus, I was watching ECW and WCW at that period, so there was so much like entertainment going on.
Yeah.
And then I kind of drifted out in the mid 2000s until you got me back into wrestling last year. And, yeah, and now you got me. Sorry, and Heather in our chest going, "Oh, you matured, la di da." Yeah, I refuse to acknowledge maturity. I just said my tastes changed.
You got into cars and girls. Ooh.
Oh, I'm still reading comic books and
yeah. So
I'm not saying all my shit. Sure, I'm just saying my interest in wrestling waned for whatever reason. You know, I watched the first few WrestleManias. Yeah. I watched Hogan Andre at my buddy's house on pay-per-view. You know, and what was it? I think 3 was the first one on pay-per-view.
First 1 was the first one on pay-per-view.
I thought it was just closed circuit.
I thought it was pay-per-view and closed circuit.
All right. Well, the first few, I'll just say the first few I watched at my buddy Adams as a kid. Like, he would have WrestleMania parties. So that, you know, so I was watching back then and then just kind of stopped, started again. You know, so I watched all of the big names from back then. And, you know, I had some of the toys and the T-shirts and whatever else.
Yes.
And especially
I had
in the 90s.
An Andre the Giant T-shirt that was Andre the Giant size. So I guess like it was like 6X or 7X. And, you know, I wore it around the house, you know, because I was a big kid.
Swam in it.
Yeah, I mean, it was still big on me. I mean, because, you know, I mean, even though I was a big kid, it was still really big. I wasn't a 6X.
I would hope not. Otherwise,
but it had I wanted it because it had the Andre handprint on the front, and it was, you know, on the size of Andre's hand. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have to agree with Bruce Pritchard, who, you know, says that, you know, that originally it was all guys. It was pictures of guys on your shirt, so it wasn't really appealing.
It wasn't cool to wear. I mean, they did that in the '90s too. It was just like, I don't want to walk around with a picture of Stone Cold Steve Austin on, you know, on my shirt.
Yeah, well, Austin.
Give me an Austin 316 shirt.
Well, I forget what I think Austin 316 was one of the first ones they did that didn't like feature the guy.
Yeah, but you see, there was shirts like back in the 80s, like Randy Savage's shirt.
Yeah, with the glasses.
The glasses, and his face was in the glasses, caricature, and it worked. The Captain Lou Albano T-shirt, which I wish I could find today, because I would rock the hell out of that thing, was a cartoon character of him, and it was perfect. It worked for him,
Yeah.
So if it's done right, it'll resonate and people will buy it. But the stuff that came in the late 80s to 90s, merchandise-wise, just sucked.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that was also the period where it waned again and before coming back. So, I mean, I wasn't watching then as much. And then I came back and it was grittier and it became cool again. And you guys like Stone Cold and The Rock. So it became a whole new generation thing. And I mean, things that a lot of these guys are still wrestling 20 years later.
Yeah.
But it's kind of also impressive that guys like the guys were retiring at like 40 back then. And now you have like
AJ Styles is in his 40s and he's world champion.
Yeah, he's like 42, I think.
But for me, because I watched for so long, I remember Steve Austin coming up through the USWA and World Championship, World Class Championship Wrestling, out of Texas, Stevan Eriks. And that was studying Steve Austin. And then all of a sudden he showed up on WCW TV. And I was like, oh, the guy's moving up. And you saw he started to get, better in the ring, better physique, better promos. And then all of a sudden here, late 90s, here it is, the champion.
And it really was that one accidental promo.
Yeah.
You can take that Jon 316, shove it up your ass.
Because Austin 316 says, I just kicked your ass, son.
And that King of the Ring promo launched his career.
Yeah. But when you watch long enough, you'll see the guys come up and go. And watching them go is sometimes, tough. But it's like, oh, wow. You almost feel like them, because you see them on television, for so long.
Yeah. And I mean, also, I didn't watch a lot of the regional stuff, so I missed out on a lot of that, except for ECW, which was fun to watch.
We would go out to clubs. ECW was on the MSG network at like 2 o'clock in the morning. We'd go out to clubs and bars. This is in my youth. And I never forget, we were at this Greek club out in Queens. I can't remember the name of it. But we were at the bar. There's people dancing and everything like that. And we're watching ECW on the television for that hour, that last hour of being at the bar. Because it was so captivating to just see, and now you couldn't hear it, but it was just to see what they were doing was so entrancing for us.
I know. Well, I mean, a lot of it was because it was that MTV style quick editing.
Yeah, yeah. So it was nothing but eye catching. It was meant for ADD people.
Yeah, I mean, because if you watch like Barely Legal, their first pay-per-view, not the best.
No, some great matches, but overall, an okay pay-per-view.
I mean, they learned, they got better.
Yeah.
And honestly, my least favorite thing about ECW was going to them live, and when the shit would start happening in the crowd, if you weren't sitting in that part of the crowd, you couldn't see shit.
You had to jump up, though, and going to an ECW show was tribal. The chants, the bloodlust of the crowd, it was every bit of a Roman Coliseum.
Yeah, no, it was always exciting to watch live, but it's when stuff wasn't in the ring. They didn't have the screens or anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just like, all right, well, now I paid money to watch a crowd.
Yeah.
But,
or, hey, we got to hurry up and run outside because they're fighting outside on Queens Boulevard. And, hey, look, Tommy Dreamer just got thrown into the side of a bus.
Well, that's always fun. But otherwise I was watching that, the Monday Night Wars. The Monday Night Wars were really exciting to watch. Because it was just like...
you had to keep hitting that back button, on your remote to jump back and forth between programs.
Oh, yeah. It was just last.
Yeah, yeah.
To find, like, is this a wrestler I like? Is this somebody who cuts a good promo?
It's just gonna be a good bit. They're gonna run here.
Yeah, exactly. You know, are they spending the first half hour of the show just talking again? My favorite sign set back then were "Shut up and wrestle."
Shut up and wrestle.
If you didn't have a good talk, if you didn't have one of like the top 3 guys, like at the top of the show, you're just like, oh, just get on with it. Come on, next.
And that
bit.
first when Nitro went to 3 hours, it was like you don't even bother watching for that first hour. There's nothing worth watching.
No, very rarely. Maybe you'd get a cruiserweight match out of that.
Yeah, and I wasn't into it. I don't like the flippy dippy.
I don't like just flippy dippy for the sake of flippy dippy. Yeah, I like flippy dippy when it tells a story.
I watched a clip of Will Ospreay do his finishing maneuver over the weekend. And it was like, all right, first of all, you can't do that move on a big guy, and he's a small dude. Mm-hmm. And it's like, there's no logic. Like, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, how does that even? How would that even, hurt, quote unquote, to set up for a pin? Like a reverse neck breaker. You know how it hurts, how it could hurt. A pile driver, power bomb. You know how someone can lay on the mat in pain from that in reality. Some of these moves are just like, all right, so you spun around 4 times before you landed on them. Does that change your does that speed up your velocity to make it hurt more? I don't think so.
No, but when you have somebody like Rey Mysterio Jr., who is a great technical wrestler, as well as somebody who can do all the flippy dippy.
Right, it has to be the right mix. But when you're just flippy dippy for the sake, just like in ECW, when it was hardcore and bloodshed for the sake of it, like with New Jack versus the Baldies, that feud that went on, there was nothing to it other than the staple gun and the balcony jump spot. All right, but you've seen it every match, so it definitely didn't have that emphasis anymore of, hey, boss, this is pretty cool.
And Heather says you must have despised Chrono Chris.
I'm not going to answer that.
Translation: he's a well-wisher.
I wish him well in all his future endeavors.
He doesn't wish him any particular harm.
No, he was a very nice guy. Very nice.
Yeah,
I wish he was successful.
Yeah, but it's like when somebody's a good technician who can do all the high spots, like when you had Edge and Christian versus the Hardy Boys doing their table, ladders, and chairs matches.
Right.
Those were just holy shit matches. Like they were telling a story while doing like insane shit off the ladders.
Right.
Yeah. And they're brutal to watch. And it really, those definitely had to have taken years out of their careers to do.
Oh, definitely. I mean, look, Edge ended up a broken neck and took time off during his career and then ended his career.
Yeah. Christian's still, is he still around the circuit?
No, he's officially retired. He has a podcast that he does with Edge.
I knew that.
And he lives right here in Tampa.
Oh, nice.
Goes to the Whole Foods over in Tampa all the time.
Nice. Tell him I say hi if you see him.
Next time I see him, I'll be like, what's up? My friend John said, what's up?
Meanwhile, Matt and Jeff are back in WWE now.
Yeah.
Jeff's still doing like the Swanton bombs.
And the charismatic enigma gimmick.
Yeah. But, he was never one who was much for the stick anyway.
No.
So that's why he had Matt to do the talking for him.
And Matt's always reinvented himself. Every few years he'll do something to change his gimmick, and it works.
Well, I mean, he was always sort of like trying to be creative. Heather says,
I'm definitely more of a Matt Hardy fan now than in those days.
Yeah. The Woken thing isn't as quite good as Broken, which I've gone back and watched.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's with Bray Wyatt, which I don't know. I'm not loving.
I'm not either. I love Bray Wyatt's gimmick. I think it could have been gigantic. It could have been every bit of a gimmick that the Undertaker gimmick became, and they ruined it.
Yeah, I could totally see that as sort of the creepy cult guy. and it would have worked. Because I saw him, I went to a house show, I guess a year or two ago, and everybody was out and picking out their phones and doing the fireflies, and it was creepy. It was cool.
The entrance song works. It's the whole package just worked. I thought it was all good stuff.
Yeah, if they had just made him a little creepier, and it would have completely worked. And I mean, I still think there's a chance for redemption for that character at this point, but not where it is now. Where even though he's tag champions.
Yeah, still, it's not doing anything for me.
Yeah. So I don't know how much that can go. I will say I also love right now what's going on with the women's wrestling.
So it's unbelievable.
It's the obvious evolution from what started in the 90s with Mickie James, Molly Holly, Lita, Trish, Victoria, and it's now they're legitimately like they could run the entire show with just women.
There really should be a women's show because they have so much talent that I feel like they all don't get the exposure that they could get.
And I don't mean Total Divas.
No, I mean like a wrestling program, a women tag champs, a women's secondary title. I would just do the whole thing.
Yeah, Yeah, even if it's just like a 1 hour show each week.
Yeah, 1 hour. 1 hour is all you need.
Yeah, get rid of like the 405 Live, or not. I shouldn't say get rid of, but let's do a style of a 405 Live or a.
It's 205.
Is it 205? I don't watch it. I don't know.
I know. It's just it's funny to have you keep hearing say 405. It's a cruiserweight division, not a super heavyweight division.
Oh, is that what it is? It's supposed to be their weight.
205 is the weight limit.
I did not know that. So I had no clue what the 205 meant. But yeah, do something like that on the network where you have a weekly. It just has to be an hour, just enough to like establish them outside and give like additional time outside of like Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
Plus, it would give more exposure to the women because right now you're lucky to have what, one match a week, or at least
this so far tonight on Raw. This is I think the third women's segment.
Yeah, so this is they had the Sasha Banks match versus Riot Squad. Right now we're watching Natalya versus Mickie James.
And there was nothing in the first hour because I was at home. I'm just assuming that there was something in that first hour.
Not that I recall.
Oh, okay. So 2 segments.
Yeah. Although Heather does want to see 405 Live. Fat ass.
405 Live would be awesome.
Fat ass is flippy flopping.
Every match is 5 to 10 minutes, no more, because when you're that big, you can't go for long.
And Heather is confirming that this is match number 2 tonight.
Okay, thank you.
So, but I mean, there's so much more because Absolution is now not getting time tonight. Your Raw Women's
Champion. They're on SmackDown now.
Oh, they switched. Okay, keep in mind, that all happened as I was going away.
Yeah, so you were away last week. It's all right. I'll fill you in. It's okay.
So Riot Squad and Absolution switched places.
Yes.
I know Paige became the general manager of SmackDown.
Yes.
But hey, she has a movie to promote.
Yeah, but I mean, an career-ending injury, so.
Yeah. But again, it's like there's no time tonight for the women's champion.
Nia Jax, no.
So, it's like you could give exposure to the champions. Unless she comes out in the middle of this because she's got that feud going with Alexa Bliss, who's in Mickie James' corner. But then it's just like now that means 5 people are out for this. And it just becomes overkill.
Definitely.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not. So, I mean, in the 80s, women's wrestling was a joke. There were legitimate women's wrestlers, but women's wrestling was a joke. And it kind of started to change in the 90s. And now I mean, this is legitimate wrestling. It's great to watch. I mean, they're as good, if not better, than the men.
Yes.
And again, some of them
are better. Some of them are superior in wrestling ability, not just like physiques or anything, but actual wrestling ability. They're better.
But I mean, I love watching Asuka.
She's my favorite.
Yeah, she's the one who came to mind because she really is my favorite to watch right now. Although again, she lost the streak around the time I stopped watching. I mean, you have Ronda Rousey.
She lost the streak at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and then she switched shows, and
yeah,
I went away. You got to remember, WrestleMania was only a couple of weeks ago.
I know, but you watched wrestling 2 weeks ago with me. We were talking about it, and then you went away. But she was already on SmackDown at that point.
Yeah, and so Raw is the one that I do watch still.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's just so much going on. Like the fact you have Ronda Rousey now, who hasn't really done a match since WrestleMania.
No, they're gonna keep her as an attraction, build her up.
Yeah, she's gonna be an attraction.
You don't want to
she'll do the pay-per-views. No, she'll do the pay-per-views, and in the meantime, she's in the corner of Natalya.
And at the same time, she's still training and learning this craft.
Oh, I know. But
it's perfect. How they're handling her is very good. Yeah.
So no, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying like she's there, so that's another spot. But you know, there's so much they can do, and I'd love to see more of it. Other than that, like I love, what's going on. A lot of the wrestling now. Oh, excuse me, I have the hiccups all of a sudden. Okay. Like it used to be that the main leads were like big punchy guys who were like Hulk Hogan and stuff. Yeah. And now you have a lot of guys who are willing to,
Oh, you called it, John. Here comes Nia Jax.
Oh, I forgot you watch on delay.
Yeah, I'm on a 2-minute delay.
But like it used to be like the brawlers were the top guys, and now you have a lot of guys who can do the flippy shit who are on top. And it's become a big difference in the quality of the matches because of that.
Definitely.
They can fly, they can do the shit that it used to be just the cruisers doing. So it becomes a little more interesting. But then you also have guys who are Braun Strowman or shit like that, who are still the big guys. Undertaker's still around. Brock Lesnar's still around.
And no matter what company you follow, there's always that big guy at the top. Because look, for years TNA tried to make Bobby Lashley, that top guy, and he's nothing but a big piece of beef.
Mm-hmm.
It's for me what I like to see different stuff. Like what the NWA is doing with Nick Aldis, and New Japan with the stuff that Kenny Omega is doing, and even Ring of Honor. There's very few really big, bulky guys in Ring of Honor. I know you have the Beer City Bruiser, who's a big dude, and maybe one or two other guys. Not as many as like. There's not as many big guys as like what WWE has.
Yeah, that's good to know. Vince always has liked big guys.
Yeah. He's got a thing for the big meat.
The big meat. Yeah, yes, he does. But that's his show. He gets to dictate what's on top.
Yeah.
But I'd always rather watch Macho Man over Hulk in the ring.
Me too.
But Hulk must pose.
I'm definitely was a Macho Man fan.
But if you watch Flair Steamboat, holy frijoles.
Macho Man was like a mix of Hogan because he had muscles and Ric Flair because he was a little shorter, a little leaner, and he wrestled.
And he was agile.
Brawled. Yeah.
But he was agile. He could move.
Yeah.
Like he could do some of that flippy shit. He didn't do much of it, but he
would do the double axe handle and the elbow drop. But he also would throw, he would throw hands. He would just throw some punches.
And he would, and then he'd go off the top rope. Drop the elbow. So it's always that's the stuff I always like. That and because it was cartoony, I liked the very flamboyant looking guys like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, guys like that. Where it's like they came out.
You should Google some Dalton Castle entrances.
Oh, he's fucking hilarious.
He's awesome, right?
He is.
I mean, he's great in the ring. He can wrestle. He looks. I mean, he comes across like nonchalantly. I know that, but like at the same time, that you get that feeling from him of He's a tough guy.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying he's not tough and that he can't wrestle. He's just very.
No, that's what I mean. Like, there's dimensions to him besides that flamboyance. But if you want to see some cool entrances, he has them.
Yeah, I've seen some. They're very entertaining. But I mean, that's what like appealed to me, like Chris Jericho in the '90s, where he was a guy who was willing to kind of, be entertaining on the way in, and then he could work a match.
Yes.
And he's still that way. And the fact that he can command a crowd in like 2 minutes and then just get in there and, he's a graduate of Stu Hart's Dungeon. So, he can, wrestle. But he can also do some of the jumpy shit. So it's... And Heather just wants you to know that the party peacock rules.
He does.
He does.
That's Dalton Castle. The peacock.
I'm aware.
Shret.
So, who would you say are one or two of your favorite wrestlers today?
Today, let's see. I definitely dig what Cody Rhodes is doing.
Mm-hmm.
I like just so many guys in NXT, but I like what Adam Cole's doing in NXT with the Undisputed Era. I'm a big fan of Titus O'Neil, and it's a shame that they don't do more with him. Here's a big guy. He's tall. He's thick. He's muscular. He's entertaining. For years now, he's been entertaining. I know everyone's talking about the sliding and the tripping, but he's so good in the ring, and he has like this raw power about him that's like, this should be a top guy. This guy should be having a belt around his waist.
But the fact that he was also able to make fun of himself.
Oh, definitely.
With the slipping thing. Like tonight, they kind of made a whole big like act out of it as he was getting in to do a run in, and it was hilarious. I kind of almost broke up laughing in the middle of.
But it's like the dude has so much talent, and it's wasted. And he's such a good guy. He's a great father. He does a lot of charity work.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's the guy you would like. That's the guy you would want at the top, of your card.
Yeah. So right now, like I'm digging Finn Balor.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Finn. Yeah.
I
know Heather likes his butt.
Why wouldn't she? But I think something's gonna click, and then he'll be world title. They're obviously not putting him there yet, but I think
I can't wait.
You can see the way the fans react to him. He's gonna be just something needs to click, because I know like they're pushing like Brock and Roman and guys like that because they're big. Braun Strowman. Who else am I digging now? Rollins is always entertaining. I know Heather's wants us both to say Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
The stuff that Sami Zayn's doing as a heel is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, yeah, like obviously I've only seen limited because he's been
Kevin
on
Owens' show last week. That segment that him and Sami Zayn did was hilarious.
I'll have to look it up. I wasn't told.
Heather sent a screen grab of them sitting at the table and said, "And we go live now to Masks and Tights."
Yes,
that was the picture. It was so funny.
I didn't realize that was from last week's show.
Yeah.
And Heather wants you to know.
I'm a big Samoa Joe fan. I love Samoa Joe, and I like
Joe's gonna kill you.
Anderson and Gallows. What'd you say?
Joe's gonna kill you. Yeah, the whole Bullet Club thing is obviously great. Or Baylor Club as it is right now.
Yeah.
Although that kind of hasn't been a thing for like the last few weeks.
Well, because Anderson and Gallows are on SmackDown.
Oh, I didn't know they switched shows.
With AJ. They teamed up with AJ, who was one of the other members of Bullet Club.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't realize they switched shows because the shakeup was...
Yeah.
I was on an airplane during it.
It's okay. I'll fill you in. It's no big deal.
All right. Well, that's what I keep you around for. You fill me in on the wrestling shit. Mm-hmm. Baylor coming out now. I love Baylor's entrance. And look how everybody's just reacting to him.
Everyone's into it.
Heather says Baylor's sexuality is a thing. Which I thought it was really cool when he brought like a lot of the people out at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I thought that was very cool. Baylor Club for everybody.
Exactly. Baylor Club is for everybody.
It's a lot of speculation now online of is he gay? Like, who gives a fuck? The guy puts on great matches.
Exactly. Oh, and somebody's dressed as the demon in the front row.
Yeah, the demon.
So
You
Baylor
ever
just
see
kind
any
of
of the entrances? His demon entrances?
No, I've never seen him as the demon.
All right, you should watch the NXT entrances that he did as the demon.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
You gotta throw your arms up with the Baylors. You know how it is. Yeah, I'm trying to think who else like I'm entertained always by whenever they come out, but I'm blanking. But it's just that kind of thing. Now, I'd ask what classic guys you like, but here's a teaser for next week.
Okay.
If you were to put together a Mount Rushmore of wrestlers,
Oh.
now don't answer now,
Okay.
but who would be on it?
Okay.
So you'll have a week to think about this.
Could we do singles wrestlers and then a separate one for tag teams?
All right, so this will just be singles wrestlers.
Okay, just singles wrestlers. Okay.
And it's wrestlers. So
yeah,
like it has to be based on their in-ring / promos.
Yes.
Because like look, Vincent McMahon, he'd be on there because look what he did for wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. No, it can't be. No, it's got to be guys. It got to be guys who lace up the boots. I get it.
So, yes, Vince has laced up his boots,
but he wasn't a wrestler.
But the Mr. McMahon character, while entertaining as it was, and how it created the Attitude Era, is not Mount Rushmore worthy.
No.
But if you were to look at the Stone Cold from that era, he'd be worthy.
Yeah, I get it.
So it can be anybody from any period, any promotion.
Okay.
The only rule is it's based on what you see on TV.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what they did behind the scenes. It doesn't matter if they were a trainer, a promoter, if they were really nice to kids in the parking lot. It's got to happen on TV for it to count. So with that thought, that's our big cliffhanger for next week.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So it's time for us to tune out and watch Baylor versus Rollins. Heather, we would love to have you on the show next week to discuss. You can totally join us, and we will set that up with you for next week.
Oh, that would be awesome. I'd love that.
Because she wants to get in on this action.
Okay.
So,
all right. I'm all for it.
All right. So we will pick that up next week. So we will see you then. We don't have a good outro yet. So
no, we don't have an outro yet.
We're working on it. See ya.